So, Deepti, we're hearing the verdict's been delayed a little. What more, though, should we expect this afternoon and this evening?
Well, Nadia, that's right. The verdict has been delayed to 6:30 Paris time, so that's just in a few hours. It was initially scheduled for 5 p.m. Basically, what will happen is when the verdict is underway, this court will gather and they will basically read out the verdicts, the sentences for the 20 defendants involved, accused of involvement in the Paris attacks in November 2015. They will read them out one by one, beginning with the least severe sentence first. That would be that of Ali Ulkadi, who's facing 5 years in prison for assisting Salah Abdeslam on the night of those attacks. And then the court will work their way up to the most severe sentence, that is that of Salah Abdeslam himself. He, of course, is the only surviving member of the Islamic State group terror cell that was responsible for those Paris attacks. And he is facing life in prison with little possibility for parole or early release. It's the most severe sentence in the French Penal Code and has only been applied 4 times in the past since its introduction in 1994. And all those cases involved the rape and murder of children. Among the other defendants facing criminal sentencing, there's also Mohamed Abrini. He's a childhood friend of Salah Abdeslam, and his brother Brahim Abdeslam. He's facing life in prison with a minimum of 22 years to be served for his role in the Paris attacks. He drove the jihadists to Paris the night before. There's also Sofiane Ayari. He's facing life in prison with a minimum of 30 years to be served for his role in the thwarted attacks that were planned for Amsterdam airport on the very night of the Paris attacks, Nadia.
And Deepti, you're outside the courthouse right now. I imagine there are many victims, many families of those killed gathering. Just kind of give us a sense of what the atmosphere is like right now.
Well, we're here out on Place Dauphine. It's a square just behind the Paris courthouse. And indeed, there's a lot of people here. This is a square that's, peppered with little restaurants and cafes. And, there are a lot of victims, each of them, or many of them at least, wearing these neck ribbons with certain colors. So you know if you can approach them and ask them questions or not. Many of them sitting on the terraces. A lot of them are, very happy to talk to journalists. I spoke to a couple of them earlier. A man called Georges Saline. He's the father of Lola, a victim from the Paris attacks. And he really said, the overwhelming feeling is relief that this trial, the longest in French history, is finally coming to an end. Not that it will necessarily give them closure, he said, because you don't get closure from such traumatic attacks. But, at least he'll be able to sort of turn a page on this very painful chapter in his life. I spoke to the spokesman of a victims association called Life for Paris. His name is Alexis, and he said, that it is the turning of a page, but not the page. And in fact, that association announced this week that they'll be disbanding on the 13th of November 2025. That'll be 10 years to the day of the Paris attacks, because they said the ending of this trial is the beginning of something new for victims, even if they don't know what that future looks like.
Deepthika Laurent at the courthouse for now. Thanks very much indeed.